A few weeks ago for Christmas, I asked my boyfriend if I could get a long Furby, and he said no. And I didn't like that answer, so I lashed out, and this is a documentation of me lashing out. In the past, he had the nerve to date people other than me before we met each other, which means he's not really good at decision making in the first place. So here's FERBERUS. Isn't she pretty? Her name is WAKKO, YAKKO, and Dot. She's got 3 names, but she's a she. I love her. I made the FERBERUS. Here's her tail. I made the Foots, the best accessory of all. I made a Furby purse. Here, I'll show you how. I don't know how to stop talking, as usually with these videos. Alright, so y'all already know what it is. I'm out here recording at the worst possible angle. My hair not done. I've got my little Furbies. I'm gonna prime them. You gotta use a filler primer. You don't have to, but it takes a long time to sand ABS. Hey, I'm stupid. This is a PLA print, not an ABS print, so this is what I'm using. It takes a long time to sand ABS, and these are really small, so it's gonna be extra hard to sand them. I started spraying the primer on, and then I realized I didn't shake the can enough, so I shook a little bit more, and then the primer came on properly. You can sand the primer after it's finished, and that makes it super smooth, but all I needed was this. I actually ended up taking off the eyelashes, so my good friend who printed these for me told me that the lashes were pretty fragile, and she was right. So I ripped them off, and I went in my bathroom, and I took all of the old lashes that I had sitting around from wearing them on my face. And I cut them in half, and I just used super glue to put those on, and it was actually really effective. So whenever I sealed these with Mod Podge acrylic sealer, the spray stuff, actually put the lashes on first, so that way they would be kind of crispy like a doll's lashes. And then I used my Cricut to print out some eye chips that I found online. I just Googled like furry eye chips, and these came up. Printed them out. I printed them on printable vinyl, and I covered them with this Mod Podge Dimensional Magic. You can cover it with resin or whatever. I'm just not exactly sure how the Dimensional Magic would react to regular paper, so that's why I decided to use the printable vinyl. And then I sat on my floor and cut out all the pieces for a pattern that I found. I literally Googled like long Furby pattern, and this came up of Tumblr. Oh, when I went to Joann's, they had this stuff called buffalo snow on sale for like $2.99 a bag, right? And it's a little bit more dense than polyfill, but it worked fine as the stuffing. It was really cheap, so sorry if it's like not right past Christmas for you guys and you can't get it on sale. I traced the pattern onto my fabric. The trick to cutting fur actually is to use a box cutter on the back, so that way you don't cut the fur like too bluntly, as well as not get it all over the place, which is really nice, because if you cut through fur straight with scissors, it's going to get everywhere. So really, if you can avoid it, do not just cut through fur. For the head, I actually hand sewed all of the head because the pieces were so small and there were so many layers, like for the ears and stuff. That was a little bit easier to hand sew than it was to stitch with my sewing machine. Okay, so this is what it looks like after everything has been sewn. This is just the head. It looks a little bit like an Among Us character from the inside. Okay, and this is what it looks like flipped inside out. It looks like a little gremlin. Gotta trim some threads here and there, but you can kind of see the ears. There's the belly. The eyes will be, the faceplate is gonna be glued here. I'm probably just gonna hot glue it on because I'm lazy. Okay, and then for the spine, I didn't buy doll armature. I bought like water hose pipes. I'm not entirely sure. I'll put a link up at the top. And yes, that was an entire bottle of apple juice that I had just down sitting behind me, and really that's my business. I don't accept constructive criticism. Yes, I did just throw it on the floor after I finished drinking the entire bottle, and no, I don't care what you think about that. So I decided that my best bet was to add the last little thingy I had. I split it in two and added that onto here, and that was probably just gonna give me the best like results that I was looking for, because I didn't feel like redoing this whole thing. And then I just repeated the exact same steps to cut it out, where I just took a box cutter. Did I just dig up my nose? What was that? Okay, anyways, so then I just took my box cutter and cut out the fabric as I had previously. And I actually decided to split it into several parts and then sew the top separately from the bottom. Okay, it's a little hard to see because I'm working from bed, but what I decided to do was actually separate all of the head pieces and put their little vertebrae inside, and then it's stuffed. Once it's stuffed, it actually bends really nicely, but they're going to be attached a little differently than I had originally planned. I'm probably going to like stitch up the bottom here and then sew them onto the thing somehow. I'll figure it out. I cut 2 holes in the sides of the neck and then sewed the other heads onto it. I couldn't figure out how to get like the 3 prongs together, so I just duct taped it and it worked. They're here, they're ready. All I gotta do now, well, their faces aren't glued on yet. Let me take this out. Ooh. So this is what it looks like. Oh, my feet, you can't see those for free. This is what it looks like. And I just like bunched it up and put it in there. Now what I'm going to do is sew the rest of the body onto the Furby and then put the whole thing on and then stuff it all. And she'll be finished. Well, I gotta put some little toesies on her, but that'll be fine. You guys can see those for free. So after everything was sewn together for Mr. FERBERUS, I just took that buffalo snow and I stuffed it. It was longer than my body, so I had to use a broom to stuff it properly so that it could get into all the little nooks and crannies and crevices, or literally anywhere that went past my elbow, because I really couldn't get my arm that far up in there. And made sure that the spine was still either in the front or the back so that I could bend it properly. And then for the purse, this part was really simple. All I did was measure out a piece of fabric the size of the front of the purse and cover it in contact cement. Now, technically you could use hot glue, however, hot glue doesn't adhere well to leather or pleather, whatever fabric that purse is made out of, but contact cement will do a better job of sticking together. I don't know if there's leather glue, but given what I know about like clothes and fashion and stuff, there's probably leather glue that you could get if you wanted it. The second easiest part to this project was probably making the shoes. I did my classic method. You know, you grab some old shopping bags, you grab some duct tape, and you just cover that bad boy up. It's so easy. You can make a pattern out of almost anything like this. Once you know what you're doing. I've seen people that did it just using like wax paper and stuff. They didn't even tape anything down, so they're real pros. I just took a Sharpie and I drew on my pattern and I cut it out with some regular scissors. It's really easy. I mean, even if you don't make the Furby, you can make Furby boots technically. It took absolutely none of my brain cells to do this. I traced that onto the fabric and cut it out with my No, you don't use scissors for fur. Yeah, box cutter. I cut it out with my box cutter. That's what I used. And that was also really easy. Oh, I took out my hair this day. I didn't even notice. Wow. I must have had to go somewhere or something. I'm not entirely sure, considering everything has been closed. Yo, okay, I'm running out of things to say, but I just want to say I did not expect everything that happened this past year to last as long as it has. Like, what the heck? I can't go outside. Well, I can't go outside, but I have to wear a I should have made a Furby mask. Oh my god. Alright, so come to the next video where I make a Furby mask and Furby earmuffs, but other than that, here is how the outfit turned out. So, Mr. FERBERUS, you see, if we increase our profits by 25%, the only thing we really have to do is get rid of 90% of our employees. and that way there's more money for you and your plan for domination. However, if we want to increase our profits by 95%, unfortunately, we are going to have to poison most of our workers. That is just the only way out of it, so that way we don't have to worry about any financial compensation for their families or any sort of like paid leave or anything like that. So just let me know what you think about that.